All right. Up next in our Around the Association segment, we're going to talk about we're going to offer our way too early quarter season awards. Okay, so those awards consist of most valuable player, defensive player of the year, six man of the year, clutch player of the year, most improved, rookie of the year, and coach of the year. And I'll start my MVP and the way too early quarter season awards is, very clearly LeBron James. I think, what we've seen, what he's been able to accomplish, like Teflon mentioned earlier, he's, the most efficient he's been. He's averaging, he's putting up 30-point games in, 25 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, he's facilitating, he's dishing the ball, he's shooting from all three levels. You saw him take three charges against fucking Zion Williamson and, outsmart the Pelicans in the quarterfinals and then just bully the Indiana Pacers in the finals. Like LeBron James is having, a hallmark season. And I think that is the headline. The subtext is the fact that it's year 21 and he turns 39 this year. But big picture is that LeBron James is having a hell of a career. Having a career year. And yeah, if I were to pick my MVP right now, it would probably be Braun. Who are you guys' MVPs? Who you picking for MVP in your way too early quarter season awards?
Man, it's got to be Joker, bro. Like, I know that that's not like the popular thing to say, and it's kind of like you get that MVP fatigue because he's been in the conversation for like the last 4 years,
Right.
and he's won two, but like it's very clear, in my opinion, very clearly Joker. Like, bro is averaging 28, 13, and 9.5 on 53% field goal, and like numbers wise, that's better than his MVP season of 2 years ago. And like, not that the MVP is strictly a numbers award, but also like it just imagine the Denver Nuggets without Joker.
Right.
Like if he went down for 15 games, right, that team's probably going 5-10. Because like, I like Jamal Murray, I like MPJ, but none of those dudes do anything substantial without Joker. He literally he is the engine behind that entire team. He's the hub. And so, again, like I want to see somebody else win MVP, but it's in my opinion very clearly Joker. Like he's at this point, like I love LeBron, but Joker is like far and away the best player in the NBA.
I feel that if the award was most dominant player and not most valuable player, that would be my pick too. Joker would be my pick too. I think LeBron
Yeah,
James's value, I think, is just slightly tips the scales in his favor. Aaron,
yeah.
who's your MVP this year?
I went with Joker as well for the same reasons. I thought about putting Embiid again, but he's just such a foul merchant. His stats are just so inflated.
My
Like they're
God.
playing good, but I credit that
He's
mostly to
half the game
Maxi.
on the floor.
Yeah, I credit their success more to Maxi than I do like Embiid just dominating.
Right,
Because we've seen Embiid dominate with no help, and they don't do well.
right.
But yeah, same reasons Gabe said for Joker. Not the guess not the sexy pick, but statistically he's been good.
He's on another level, man. Like nobody
Yeah.
is performing the way he's performing across all aspects of basketball, the way Joker is, and something like something we haven't seen in a long time. So I totally understand that.
And
No
he
Joe.
plays like he plays effortlessly. It
Yeah,
looks like he's not trying.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
crazy because like he's a triple double machine.
He had two off games the other day, and he still put up crazy stats.
Yeah. No, we'll definitely get to that. No Joe, who's your way too early quarter season MVP?
I'm going with Embiid.
Oh, dark
Yeah.
horse. Why you say that?
I uh, I don't know, man. The nigga's just a dog, man. The nigga just goes out there and he hoops. I know he shoots a lot of free throws. He do a lot of bullshit, but the nigga go out there, he gets the job done. I feel like Nuggets. The Nuggets are actually like really good. They're good. Like without Jokic, they're still a good team.
Still a good.
They're I feel like Embiid though. Without Embiid, the 76ers really ain't like. I just Embiid and Maxey was out against. Hold up, let me see what it was. They was out against the Celtics. Patrick Beverly led in points, rebounds, and assists.
Damn.
So I feel like Embiid would be the most valuable. Jokic is nice in a bitch though. I feel like they're neck and neck, but I feel like we're talking about most valuable. Embiid kind of goes over.
Yeah, that's definitely, you know, both tier S type franchise players, right? Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, LeBron James, like kind of exist in this upper echelon of like guys who immediately affect winning, you know, in the most visible, the most tangible way possible. So nobody's gonna hate on you for having Joel as your early season, way too early quarter season MVP. Like, I mean, he's an MVP candidate damn near every year, so it makes sense. All right, defensive player of the year. I got Herb Jones, man. I ain't never seen nobody block as many 3-point attempts as I seen Herb Jones block 3-point attempts. Herb Jones consistently is guarding the greatest player on each team every night, and he does an incredible job of locking shit up, you know, getting the passing lanes, blocking shots, guarding multiple defenders in a single possession. Like, I mean, his activity has yet to be recognized on an official basis for the NBA, and so I think this year his floor is first team all defense, but the ceiling can be defensive player of the year just because there is no perimeter defender doing it like Herb Jones is doing it. As Pelicans fans and fans of defense know well, and chant in his praise, not on Herb, man. There's not another player in this league who, you know, whose calling card is that you ain't gonna score on this nigga. I mean, the Dorchard Chamber is a pretty solid nickname, but not on Herb as a mantra for people who appreciate Herb Jones' style of play. I think even beats out a tight ass name like the Dorchard Chamber. So my DPOY in the way too early quarter season awards is Herb Jones. Gabe, what about you?
Look, man, y'all know me. Y'all know I love the Celtics. So this is kind of uncomfortable for me to say right now. And but I'm gonna have to go with AD, man. I'm gonna have to go with Anthony Davis. Like, and if you watch the finals of the in-season tournament game, like that game proved I do have like 4 blocks. So real quick, he's averaging 2.7 blocks and a steal a game and 9 defensive rebounds. Like when he's locked in on defense, he's still probably the most dominant defender. You know, like I get what you're saying about Herb, like from a positional perspective, like Herb can guard 1 through 4.
Right.
But when you're talking about like defensive impact just on every single play, like Indiana, who's an up and down team, like they were held to what they scored 97 points, like they couldn't get shit at the rim because AD was just eating the paint. And so for me, it's Anthony Davis. Now, can he keep up this defensive pace and average 2.7 blocks a game for the remainder of the year? That who knows, because I don't think he's played more than 60 games or 55 games in his entire career. But assuming that he can and he's eligible for the awards, yeah, for me, it's Anthony Davis.
Right quick, do you think he's a better rim deterrent than Brooke Lopez or the Frenchman?
Gobert, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. I think and it's strictly because I think the bulk of it has to do with the fact that AD is still incredibly athletic. He's more athletic than both of those dudes combined.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, Brooke Lopez is great, and Rudy Gobert is also great protecting the rim, but like, I don't think either one of those dudes could cover as much ground as AD could cover. And
True.
so, because he's more athletic than them, like he may not have like maybe the instinct that they do because they've been doing it.
Brooke Lopez has incredible basketball IQ, and that allows him to
Yeah,
get a lot of really good defensive stops. And of course, like his
exactly.
size, you know,
Right.
and Rudy Gobert, you know, he is a paint presence monster. You know what I'm saying? But again, don't have the athleticism, don't have the lateral movement, don't have the ability to guard multiple positions like an Anthony Davis has. So I could definitely
Right.
see why AD has the edge over those two prominent shot blockers / rim deterrers.
Yeah, it's the athleticism for me.
Yeah. Aaron, Teflon, who is your defensive player of the year in the way too early quarter season awards?
I hate that I'm saying this, but Rudy Gobert.
Oh, big Frenchie, the Stifle Tower.
Yeah, his stats are back to where he was at with Utah. Like his impact on the floor
Yeah.
He's averaging almost 14 a game, 13 rebounds, 2.5 blocks. He's a +7. Like when you watch the Timberwolves, you notice when he's not there.
Right.
Like Naz Reid is a fantastic backup. He changes the pace of the game, but defensively, Minnesota's a way better team with Gobert. He's finally got into his role. He's back to where he was. I'll still dog on him here and there,
Yeah.
but yeah, he's been defensively he's been balling his ass off.
Hey man, in the last 2 weeks, in week 6 and week 7, he averaged 17 points per game, 14 rebounds, and 3.3 blocks. So like, and that's with the absence of Anthony Edwards for about 2 or 3 of those games. So yeah, in the absence of their superstar, he stepped up, and continued to improve. And like, yeah, 14 rebounds and 3 blocks, plus 17 points. You can't turn your nose up at that.
It's definitely a award that's going to be hard to pick towards the end of the year.
For sure. As long as you ain't saying Jaren Jackson Jr., I think.
Nah. Jaren Jackson's in that Miles Turner.
Oh my God.
Category.
Right. Or changing light bulbs, team light bulbs.
Yeah, just sweet. What Shaq said, barbecue chicken in the paint.
Teriyaki barbecue chicken. No, Joe, who's your way too early quarter season defensive player of the year?
Man, at first I was gonna say Bam, but yeah, I'm gonna go with AD.
Going with AD.
Yeah, he just has his presence is just he just has a good defensive presence. I feel like Bam though also I feel like a lot of niggas don't know how to play a pick and roll. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't know how to guard a pick and roll. I feel like that's what Bam does very well. That would really be the only thing I would have to say, but I have to give it to AD.
No, man, I think Bam is definitely the anchor of that Miami defense, and yeah, there's a lot to be said about his switchability and his ability to not only defend comparable bigs and the elite bigs in the league, but also like fours and threes and and even switch on to twos in certain instances. So I definitely see the flexibility he exhibits there. But like you said, man, AD has the edge because he's a shot deterrent from so many parts of the floor. All right, up next we got 6th man of the year, man. I got Malik Monk. Was he former 6th man of the year? Was he 6th man of the year last year?
Second, I think he was like second or third place.
Second or third place. Well, I'm looking for him to take it this year, man. He's bringing just a high level. Again, what we saw from the Kings last year, man. They don't lose out on scoring in the second unit because they've got a microwave scorer like Malik Monk, and when he has the opportunity to stagger those minutes alongside De'Aaron Fox, those two are money. Are energy absorbers. You know what I'm saying? They take the energy out of the room. And an away game, they'll, shoot the energy up to, 15 in a home game, man. I think what Malik Monk is doing as a 6th man for the Kings is really impressive. And I think he should be rewarded for that. Having done it consistently and accepted that role consistently for the last couple of years. So my 6th man of the year and the way too early quarter season awards is Malik Monk. What about yours, Gabe?
All right, man. Y'all gonna have to stay with me on this one because I feel like I'm gonna get some flack on this, but I'm gonna say this confidently, man. For me, it's CP3, and I know he's been injured, and I know he hasn't seen the floor as much as we wanted, but he's averaging. The numbers aren't gaudy. It's 8, 4, and 7. However, like he's only playing like 20 to 25 minutes a game. All right, and this like my reasoning behind this is not just looking at the numbers. It's like you got to look at the on court, like what it looks like when he's on the court with Golden State. Like the team, like they're humming. Like you get to put when he's on the court, especially next to Steph, you get to put Steph off the ball and he gets to cut and just like run around like he's Rip Hamilton. It unlocks a different version of Steph. When that second unit is healthy and he's out there, that second unit plays with pace and they play with speed. And so I see this award like how you said, if the MVP was about Like you think LeBron's value is
Mhm.
what makes him the MVP. I think Chris Paul's value to what he brings to the Warriors is what gives him this award, in my opinion.
I feel
And the fact that he has accepted this role and hasn't said shit about it.
I feel that. I also feel like, when you start talking about a team like the Warriors, you start talking about Chris Paul and his contributions, you also have to consider winning, right? And the
They're like,
Warriors
yeah, they're
are
like
doing
10 and
great.
12 right now. They're not great.
They're not doing great. I think they're pretty bad on the road. Um, and yeah, man, it's a rough one. It's a rough one for the Warriors, and I think like that definitely won't help the case. But I could obviously see like the impact and just how more fluid and how much more put together that second unit has become under the sort of leadership of Chris Paul. So I don't fault you for that. Teflon, who you got as your sixth man of the year?
I couldn't decide. Stuck between two people.
Okay.
My heart says THJ. My mind says Malik Monk. They're both leading off the bench in scoring.
Hmm.
But just to be different, I'll go with THJ.
Hmm.
Go with my little homer pick.
Interesting. And you've had some very vocal, some very loud gripes about
Yeah,
about
yeah.
Tim Hardaway Jr.
It's his defense.
Yeah. But overall, you think he's providing you know, some of the
He's
best bench production in the league?
he's 17 off the bench.
Yeah.
He's gonna get you that. He's gonna take some dumb shots, but if you ever need a grenade, shot clock running out, just hand it to him. He'll probably make it.
Yeah.
Just don't expect him to
See,
play defense.
he's just too streaky. Like, I know those are his averages, but he's so
Yeah,
streaky. Like, when he has a bad game, it's fucking bad.
yeah. He's shooting 38%
Ain't terrible.
right now.
That's
Yeah,
solid. That's solid.
that's above average.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's between those two, him and Monk.
Yeah.
Because Monk's not the best defender either, but he's a little more consistent.
Yeah. And I think as far as like diversity of contributions, right? Like THJ is an incredible shooter, but like that's where it starts and ends, right?
Yeah, he's not gonna.
Malik Monk is a lob threat. He's a facilitator. He's a second floor general. When De'Aaron Fox is off the floor, so I think that helps Malik
Yeah,
Monk's case too.
don't let me expand on my pick, or else it's gonna sound a little bit worse.
We'll just leave it at he's
Just
a
leave it
great
at that.
shooter. Bringing
I'm going. I'm
statistics
going
off
with
the bench.
Vegas. I'm going with Vegas odds. Take TJ.
No, Joe, who's your way too early quarter season sixth man of the year?
Man, I'm gonna go with Cole Anthony. Yeah, I like Cole Anthony, man. I feel like he come off the bench and just he keep the tempo. Like it's like he come off the bench and it's just you know what I'm saying? Like he's going, and he can score like a motherfucker too. And they come off the bench and I think he just dropped like 30 on some shit off the bench. So it's like I don't know. I just like the nigga. I ain't gonna lie.
No, Cole
No,
Anthony
that's
is a
a
great
sleeper
player.
pick.
He's super, yeah, big sleeper pick, bro. He's super solid, and because of how the Orlando Magic production is, you'll fuck around and forget that he's a six man. You'll fuck around and forget that, like, yeah, he's coming off the bench with the second unit. Like, they all produce so well in their roles. They all contribute so much in their roles on any given night. Like, yeah, it's even hard to think of him as a quote unquote bench player. So no, I'm 100% on the Cole Anthony bandwagon with you. I think he's a great personality. I think he's great for the league. And yeah, man, I hope he just continues to get, really more opportunities. Could you see him staying in that role? Do you think he aspires for a bigger role? Is he off limits in the trade market? Could you potentially see him in a different uniform this year? How do we feel about Cole Anthony? His future with Orlando.
I feel like I don't know how he feels about, you know what I'm saying, playing the six, but I like seeing him play the six man because a lot of the starters are more of kind of like slower pace. I feel like
Huh.
they're
He
kind of
brings
like
that burst of energy off the bench.
yeah.
As
Yeah,
a
I don't know if they can afford to get rid of him because Anthony
no,
Black is too young to take the reins, and Markel Fultz, he unfortunately can't stay healthy because when he's out there, he's good. And then Jalen Suggs, I think Jalen Suggs is a small two. I don't think he's a one at all. I
Right.
think he is like locked in as a two guard because he can defend and he can shoot, but he's not really what you would call a distributor. So I don't think they can afford to lose him. He probably has hella trade value, but I don't think they're in a place
no.
where they want to. I think they're gonna ride this year out. I don't see them making any moves at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Orlando's my team, so I've been watching him a lot. So Cole Anthony's he has a feature there. It's Markel who, if they can, they're gonna package up and ship out.
Okay.
Because Anthony Black starts. Jalen Sugg is the sometimes he starts, sometimes he comes off the bench with Cole. He's the spark plug on defense, kind of like GTA or
Mhm.
Pelicans.
Right.
Yeah, but Cole Anthony is when he's in the game, it's I'm gonna get my buckets and we gonna play D.
Right. We gonna keep this lead or we gonna stay competitive because I'm leading the second unit.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I like that. And I think that's a great pick for six man of the year. I know that's a sleeper pick, and I know that probably won't end up being the case, but I think that's a real well
Hey,
thought out six man of the year pick.
he's top 5 in odds.
Oh, there you go.
He's up there.
Clutch player of the year. Clutch player is a new award, and basically, I mean, it is what it sounds like. The guys who get the buzzer beater highlights, who are good in the last 2 minutes, who are money in the last 2 minutes. I'm giving it to Alex Caruso, man. He had a couple big game winners this year. I think, statistically, he is the most efficient in the last 2 minute in clutch points. I think he's shooting 80% from three in clutch situations and game winning, game tying, or under 2 minutes in the game. He's shooting 80% from three, which is fucking nuts. And yeah, he has helped, kind of, change the identity of the Bulls. And he's the folk hero out there, and I think with good reason. He's come up big. He's a solid player. He plays defense and is rewarded for that with free reign on offense. And he makes good use of it, man. He makes big time shots. He's a big time player. So my clutch player of the year is going to Alex Caruso. Gabe, who's your clutch player of the year?
Yeah, man. For me, it's Tyrese Maxey. I looked this up a little bit ago when I was prepping for the pod, man. But he's got 161 fourth quarter points, and so I understand that. Right. I understand that. Like, I think the NBA defines clutch time as anything like within 5 points with 3 minutes or under. So, like,
Yeah.
by definition, I don't think it's clutch time. But like, bro, 161 points in the fourth quarter, and we're 20 games in. Like, I'm not a math major, so I don't know what that average is, but like, bruh. And then when you watch him play, like, I think the reason also why he's been so successful in the fourth quarter is because one, like, Joel Embiid, by the time the fourth quarter rolls around, like, dude is laboring, right? He's
Yeah.
out here moving like slow mo. And then at that, he's constantly pushing the pace, and he just gives them a different look when it comes to the fourth quarter. And he's unafraid. Like, bro will go against anyone, take every shot, will pull up from half court, like from the logo. It doesn't matter. So for me, it's Tyrese Maxey, and then especially because like getting rid of James Harden is completely unlocked his game to another
yeah.
level. So
Oh, yeah.
for me, it's Tyrese Maxey.
No, that's a great pick, man. And those fourth quarter points are that's a special stat, man. That's somebody who is taking the game into their hands. That's somebody who has the keys and is like, and is gonna do what's within their power to get their team that win. So that's a really good on you for finding that stat and adding that to your argument, man. Because yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that, but I mean, it makes total sense. Like when the game is on the line, when the game is coming to a close, like whose hands are you putting the ball in? And for that team, with the amount of labor that Joel Embiid carries just by default, and like you said, the free range he's been given in the absence of Harden, like I wouldn't trust nobody else. Teflon, who you got for your clutch player of the year?
I'm going with Damian Lillard.
Dame time. Now,
So
what's
going
he
with
shown us in a Bucks uniform that he hasn't shown us in a Blazers uniform this year?
in clutch time, he's showing the same shit. They've had 12 games in qualify for clutch. They're 9-3. He's averaging about 6 points
Nice.
in those under 5 minutes, and he's damn near averaging a 50-40-90, which is 50% from the field, 40% from three, and 90 from a free throw.
We're all ideal percentages.
Yeah,
Top
and
of the league.
the Bucks lead the league in clutch wins. They don't have the best record because the Mavs are 8-1, but they're 9-3, which is right behind it. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Dame.
Bigger sample size, and like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we've seen what Dame is capable of, like, you know, and you know, the Bucks definitely benefit from that, especially considering the year before, you know, anytime the game is on the line or you're in a clutch situation, you know who is going to. So to have both Giannis and Dame as, you know, as the potential, you know, last guys with the ball in their hands, like, I think, you know, obviously Dame has a track record of being a game winner, of being ice cold in the clutch, in the best way possible. And yeah, it definitely takes the pressure, the burden off of Giannis's shoulders to be that guy. And you've got somebody like Dame who's naturally that guy. So I definitely feel that pick. Nojo, clutch player of the year. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Dame also. Nigga averaging 7 points a game in the fourth. I mean 7 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So it's niggas got there getting to work when it comes to the fourth quarter. So
Right.
That's what I'm going for.
Right. And averaging 7 in the fourth quarter means you've had some 12-point fourth quarters. You've had some 15-point fourth quarters. You know what I'm saying? You might have a 4 or a 6-point fourth quarter there, but like averaging 7 is not no joke. Like, you know, that ain't 7 every game. That's every now and then you put up, you know, 10, 12 points in the fourth quarter and, you know, will your team to a win. So I definitely respect the pick. Most improved. I got Tyrese Maxey for obvious reasons, right? I mean, the glow up is it's unlike any other. It's impeccable. It's storybook. It's almost destiny, bro. You got the motherfucking mark of the Lion King across his forehead, nigga. Like the minute James Harden ousted himself, you know, Tyrese Maxey looked at it as his opportunity. He stepped up and he's delivered. He's over delivered. So I'm definitely giving my way too early quarter season award for most improved player to Tyrese Maxey. Gabe, who you got?
See, that's interesting, man, because that was initially like when we first posed the question, that was where my mind went. But I'm gonna have to give it to Tyrese Halliburton, bro. I mean, we all watched what he did in the in-season tournament, and he was doing that shit before the in-season tournament. Like, bro, like routinely is averaging 10, 12, 15, 18, like
And
he's
zero
hitting like
turnovers type shit.
Yeah, bro, it's crazy. His like assist to turnover ratio, I wish I had the number. But like just if you look at his last year's stats, like he's scoring 27 a game now. It was 20 last year.
Yeah.
He had 10 assists last year. It's up to 12, right? He was shooting 40% from three last year, which is good. Like it's great. That's above average. He's shooting 44%. So not only have you seen his numbers go up, so his volume has significantly increased, but his numbers have increased too. And so when you see those two things, like if you're able to have your numbers and your efficiency go up, that's the mark of like, you know, you've taken a huge step. And then when you couple that together with the way that he played during FIBA, like, well, I remember we had this conversation before we even started the pod. Like he was gonna have a breakout year. And so for me, it's Halliburton. He's running away with this. I think if he continues this, he's gonna run away with this award.
Want to hear a crazy stat about his assist to turnover ratio?
What is it? Zero?
No, it's stupid. I think he has 12 assists to 2 turnovers. But if he can have 150 straight turnovers, he'll still have a better ratio than Steph Curry.
Damn.
That's crazy.
That's how much of a lead he has.
Yeah,
it's not 12-2. He's a 12-2 turnover ratio.
Yeah, he gets he averages 12 assists and 2 turnovers.
So that's a 6-1. Look at me.
Yeah,
That's a
6 to 1.
6-1 ratio. I know math.
Yeah, crazy numbers. But I'm going with Tyrese Maxey as well.
Okay.
Halliburton's a good choice as well. I think I'm taking Maxey just because draft placement. Maxey is more looked at with the Harden experiment to be like their 6-man kind of some extra scoring when Harden's not there, like not
Mhm.
playing. Not Maxey. Halliburton was he's a top 10 pick. He went from starter to can you say superstar? If he can use this the rest of the year, superstar.
Yeah, I think he's superstar status.
Yeah, Maxey went.
Halliburton superstar.
Yes, sir. 100%. I could build a team around that.
You
You ask
absolutely
any
could,
G-
but I think
anybody would build a
I think
team
there are
around this
levels
man.
to it. I think there are levels to it. I think he becomes an all-star this year.
Yeah,
I think he becomes an all-star this year. I think winning affects superstardom. But go ahead. That's a moot point.
but yeah, even at the minimum, he goes from starter to all star.
Right.
Good jump. Maxey went from 6-man to star.
Right.
So I'm gonna give it to him just off that.
That's a
Both good
good point.
choices.
Nobody expected Maxey to be this good. People sort of expected it from Halliburton, kind of.
Yeah, because Maxey was the Bones Highland,
Mhm.
that mold of
Yeah.
people, and he's
Mhm.
just
That's a good point.
Yeah, he's showing the evolution of his game and like you said, what he's able to do, you know, as the decision maker, as the primary facilitator. You know, he didn't have that option before. So, and Halliburton was the guy last year. He was the guy. He has improved significantly, but he's not coming from the shadow of anybody. You know, Nojo, who you got as your most improved?
I went Maxey also. Maxey, this nigga's averaging like 27 points a game. The nigga is hooping, and also like nobody else is really like you know what I mean. Like nobody else has really just made a leap. You know, it's I feel like Maxey kind of just made the biggest leap. Everybody else is kind of playing the same. I tried to look around and see who else is kind of doing a lot better, but it's not really. Everybody kind of looks the same.
Mm-hmm. No, I definitely think I don't know what the standings are currently, but yeah, I mean, we'll continue to watch their individual performances because that is the most improved race to look to. I mean, those are the stories this year, like, you know, the emergence of Tyrese Halliburton, the emergence of Tyrese, the battle of the Tyreses, nigga, like right.
What more do you want from me?
That's got to be a generational thing, nigga, because like, yeah, there's a couple Tyreses that are a product of the baby boy generation. So shout out to both Tyreses, man. And yeah, both are among players who have played 10 or more games in 28 minutes, greater than or equal to averaging 28 minutes per game. Tyrese Halliburton and Tyrese Maxey are in the top 4, right? So you've got Mike Conley, 6.45 assist to turnover ratio, Tyrese Halliburton, 5.43, Fred VanVleet, and then Tyrese Maxey at 4.79. So if you're talking about just like, yeah, the ability to distribute the ball without causing much turnovers, like they're sandwiched in there between two veteran guys, you know, between a Mike Conley and a Fred VanVleet and a CJ McCollum. You know what I'm saying? Like they're in elite company already. So shout out to the youngsters.
If you want to make a contrarian pick, you might be able to go with Şengün.
Yeah.
He's improved.
He has improved greatly, and I think Houston has improved in general. But yeah, they got to make a little bit more noise.
Yeah, offense also goes through Şengün as well.
Yeah,
he's in like a baby Joker mold right now.
And yeah, I mean, and if I'm not mistaken, didn't they lose to the Rockets in the past couple of weeks? No,
yeah,
they lost.
I think they lost twice.
They won the first one. They won the first one and then lost the second.
Yeah. So yeah, and Baby Joker had a couple ball games in both of them. So I'm not mad.
Yeah, that nigga be hooping.
Oh, for sure. Rookie of the year, way too early. Quarter season awards. I got Chet Holmgren for obvious reasons. The battle comes down to really, you know, two of the two of the headliner rookies, Victor Wembanyama, the number 1 pick, and Chet Holmgren, who sat out last year, his entire rookie season, and is now eligible for Rookie of the Year this year. He's affected winning, right? He's playing winning basketball on a winning team, and is contributing, a huge amount to that team's success. So Chet Holmgren, I definitely, threw a sleeper in there, and Jordan Hawkins. You know what I'm saying? Jordan Hawkins is, around the top of the league in 3 points made, definitely among the top rookies in 3 points made. And he's just getting started. But sample size, effect on winning, direct and immediate contributions to it. I mean, it's hard not to vote Chet Holmgren for Rookie of the Year at this point. Gabe, who you got?
Yeah, I mean, this was probably the easiest. It's Chet, bro.
Yeah.
And it's not to say like, oh, it's by far. I mean, it's Wemby puts up great numbers, but like those numbers are yet to be like quantified in terms of like, okay, how much impact do they actually have on winning? Right? Because like, and that's not to say that like Wemby's not a winning player, you can't win with him, like that kind of shit. I don't buy that. Like, I don't even really like that argument, period, with any player, right? But yeah, I mean, Chet, he's coming in there, he's averaging 17 points, 8 rebounds, 51% from the field, 87% free throw, which is great, right, for a big man. And then most importantly, he's shooting 37% from 3. So he's already almost, I'm pretty sure by the end of the year, he'll be closer to 40%. And like, that's kind of what you want from most players, is that 36 to 40 range. He's already shooting that. And he's already had a couple big moments in terms of like clutch shots. Like, dude is not afraid. He's like nasty in terms of his attitude. And he's a legit number 2 next to Shea. And he is kind of like, Shea is obviously the reason why that team is successful, but Chet is the reason why that team has the potential to be like contenders for years to come, because he's a legit second option, like 1A type dude next to Shea.
Yeah, I think Chet has earned his respect among, many formidable opponents, many, seasoned veterans he's went up against. Like, he don't back down. He's got that tenacity. He's got that necessary chip on the shoulder. Like, I think he's valid. Teflon, who you got? Rookie of the Year, way too early quarter season awards.
Chet, the easy pick. Not too much to add to what's already been said.
Straight up. Nojo?
Yeah, I'm going Chet also, man. I've been on the Chet bandwagon since last year. I was hoping who's that Ben Carroll he was supposed to be going up against, but he never ended up playing. I was rooting for him super hard, but yeah, if anybody, I want Chet.
For sure. I think that's a clean sweep.
Do you think that they're going to change that rule where like if you miss your first year, you're still eligible? Because I've heard, like, I've seen on Twitter and shit where people were like, well, he's not really a first year player because he got to be around the team for the whole year.
They did it with Ben Simmons. They did it with Blake Griffin.
Right, but should they change that rule?
I think
you think he has an advantage because he got to be around an NBA team for a year and work out and bulk up?
Was he working out or was he in a fucking cast? Because like all I've seen of him was he was in a cast.
Oh, I'm not arguing one way or the other. I'm simply posing the question. I don't think they should change it. I don't give a shit.
I don't think they should do that because like then like retroactively like right does the Blake Griffin Rookie of the Year award have an asterisk next to it?
Right, because you still got to go out there and play.
Right, does the Ben Simmons or the didn't Joel Embiid had a whole DNP year his rookie year?
And I think he had 2 in a row. I don't even think he won Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
Nah, he was out like his first year, played like a few games the second year, then got hurt again.
Yeah. But I think he was in the conversation for a potential, year late Rookie of the Year, sophomore Rookie of the Year campaign, just because, he wasn't qualified for it his first year. I think all is fair, bro. And it's like, yeah, this is your first season, playing NBA basketball. Like, I don't know, bro. Like the transition from, the collegiate or G League or overseas to the NBA, right? Like it's a jump, but it's not the biggest leap, right? It's not the biggest leap. So, that talent ain't doing nothing but being refined and being, positioned and put into a role on an NBA team. Like what you have is what you have, and and what you develop, from that point forward. So I don't know. I think Chet has always had it, and I think like proximity to his team doesn't really factor in as much as what we already expected from Chet to begin with. You know what I'm saying? Last but not least, coach of the year. I'm going Chris Finch with Minnesota. I think he's got, a full plate on his hands over there. I think, sort of inheriting the Gobert experiment is a tall order, is a tall task for any coach, especially with that level of expectations. You have a potential franchise player in Anthony Edwards. You have, a guy making the lion's share of the salary cap and Rudy Gobert. You have a second superstar and Karl Anthony Towns that you're having to, display and potentially, shop, his talents and his contributions to other teams before the trade deadline. And you still maintain a top defense in the league. Like before anything else, like the Minnesota Timberwolves are holding opponents to the least amount of points per game of anybody. And I think, it's easy to put a bunch of stars together and it's easy to just tell cats to go out there and score. But, making defense, a principle in a young team that's, has reasonable expectations for, a potential superstar and some big name players on the roster. I think emphasizing defense and making them a defensive force and a top two team in the league, top 3 team in the league is a pretty impressive feat. So I'm giving it to Chris Finch of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Gabe, who you got for Coach of the Year?
Yeah, man. So for me, it's actually Jamal Mosley in Orlando, and my biggest thing as to this is a kind of exactly the opposite of why you chose Chris Finch. You said because expectations were so high. And agreed, high expectations, you deliver results, you should get credit for it, right? Nobody expected this shit from Orlando, at all, right? I mean, I think we expected some improvement, but I think at best, people were talking about Orlando maybe competing for a play-in spot. They're second in the East.
Yeah.
I mean, the East isn't as strong as the West, right? But they're still second in the East. They're 14-7, and I think the kind of most shocking thing, not shocking, but most surprising thing that I saw that helped, that made me kind of reinforce my pick was that not a single one of his starters right now are over the age of 25. So you talk about doing it with a young team, he is doing it by definition with a young team. I think the oldest guy on that team that gets any play is Joe Ingles. He's 36, but then after that, Gary Harris is 29, and then everybody else is, I think, they got Jonathan Isaac is 26, but everybody else is under the age of 25. I mean, Franz is 22, Paolo is 22, Anthony Black is 19, Batadze is 22, Jalen Suggs is 22, 23. So he's doing it with a young team who had no expectations in a very small market with not a lot of resources.
No, shout out to the Magic, man. They definitely look like the Sacramento Kings of this year, and I think with a lot more defensive principles, they can go pretty far. They can go farther than most people expect. I think nobody expected that from the Kings, and I think you're right on the money with that. Aaron, who's your way too early quarter season Coach of the Year?
I was gonna go with Jamal Mosley, but I'm gonna give it to the runner-up from Coach of the Year and give it to Mark Daigneault of OKC. They're having repeat success. They make the playoffs again. He was already runner-up last year, so it kind of makes sense for him to go from runner-up to Coach of the Year.
Right on. All surprises. I wouldn't say Minnesota's a huge surprise. Minnesota's in the playoff conversation, fringe playoff
a good choice too.
But I think all 3 of those are super sleeper teams who whose coaches deserve some sort of recognition for being able to grab the reins on those franchises and really defy expectations.
I will say if Orlando keeps this up, makes the playoffs, I wouldn't be mad if seeing Mosley win it.
Hey man,
I'd love it.
I have the Orlando Magic theme song on a constant loop in my head just because of just like, how excited they are about them being a winning team for the first time in a long time. Like all their social media posts is Orlando Magic, Orlando. Like it's on a constant loop in my head, bro. No, Joe, who you got for your way too early quarter season coach of the year?
Man, I'm going Ime Udoka. Man, the Rockets fucking sucked last year, like really bad. I believe they were second to last in the West, and they're not like the best team. They're not close to being the best team, but this nigga rearranged, like
they're totally
doing a good job.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I fuck him because of the whole Nia Long situation, but he's doing a really good job with the Rockets.
He's due for a redemption story. He's due for a coming to Jesus moment.
Yeah, he got to win a championship though, to shake back from that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this championship or bust.
That's an interesting pick because I like Ime Udoka like as a pick for that because essentially like it's kind of the same team from last year outside of obviously like Dylan Brooke and Fred VanVleet, and that obviously those two changed the dynamic of the team, but like the young core is the same. And so basically he saw the talent that was there and he's squeezing the talent out of them.
Right.
Yeah, he hitting that hole too.
And no other coach has been able to do that. And there have been some reasonably talented coaches in that position prior to Ime Udoka, and he came in there and he straightened them young boys out and got them playing, competitive basketball at the very least.
Yeah, I just really hate what happened to him. Like honestly, I just really hate how he ended up even going to the Rockets. Like he's doing a good job, but I hate the fact that he even ended up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That wasn't none of our business to begin with, but I mean,
Boston didn't do good on that one. Like as a Boston fan, I didn't like that. That wasn't cool. That felt a little low key racist. But
who's the last coach of the Rockets?
He was the son of a coach, Silas.
Stephen Silas.
Yeah. Didn't he wasn't he like crying and shit? Because of that team, how bad that team was.
Yeah. Like he would often be found beside himself.
That was understandable though. I ain't gonna lie, it was very understandable.
And the difference a year the coach makes, bro. Yeah.
Bro,
that team
Ime Udoka came and put them boys in the boot camp. Clearly, he put them boys in the boot camp. The organization put two veterans, a floor general, and a defensive anchor in that lineup. And yeah, I mean, we're looking at an improved Rockets team. Granted, they're not on the top of anybody's standings right now, but they're miles beyond where they were last year. And I think like discipline and like accountability and like, a coach that come in, no bullshit, let's play for something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I hate to, bring the tabloids into it, but I mean, you saw how he checked LeBron. You saw, the type of energy he coming with. You know what I'm saying?
I love that shit.
Right.
That shit was great. He said, don't come over here like you're going to do something.
Don't come over here like you're going to do that. I'm not one of them. I don't believe you.
He ain't call him a bitch and shit.
Stop bitching.
Yeah.
All y'all.
LeBron's over there like, hey, don't call me no bitch. We grown men.
Man, hey, man.
Get out of here.
Hey man, I'm gonna stand here and I'm gonna let you check me. I'm gonna see if you let the word bitch slip off your lips again before I get teed up and ejected.
Udoka was looking like that picture of Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah,
sideline
after a
Kobe
slap.
homie was stanced up.
Yeah, man. Yeah, straight up. No, so I rock with Udoka, and I think that's a really good pick, no Joe. But yeah, that concludes our way too early quarter season yearly awards, man. We'll check back in probably at the mid-season mark. But I think we all have a pretty good grasp on who's leading the charge in these various categories, man. And I think we'll have some really interesting battles as the season moves forward, particularly among Sixth Man of the Year, clutch player, most improved. I think those three will really have some interesting battles as far as like, who is the leader of their team's second unit, right? Who is the guy, the fourth quarter guy, the last 3-minute guy, who has shown the greatest leap from, the previous year to the next year. I think those three awards will definitely will bring some headlines and some noise this year. So I'm excited to see how this plays out as the season moves forward.